All right, let's now get into some company news as well. And Orthocell has finalised its strategic investment in Marine Biomedical, giving it strategic rights to Marine Biomedical's regenerative bone technology, PearlBone. Let's discuss now with John Van Der Wielen, the chairman of Orthocell. Tell us in your words, John, what does all this mean? How important and significant is it for Orthocell?
Well, it is significant. I think the most unique component is the origins of this science come from the same Chief Scientific Officer and Professor, Menghao Zheng from the University of Western Australia. So Menghao Zheng developed the unique collagen implant that Orthocell is now marketing around the world. And he is also the inventor of this very unique biological bone product that is derived from the pearl shell up in Broome. And in fact, their sustainable usage as well, which is enormous, is that Willie Creek pearls, we use the discarded shells, we then turn that into a biological bone regenerative product, and Orthocell see this as a fantastic investment, not only for its nearly 12% stake, but the investment in the future, because we think as a standalone company, Marine Biomedical will be a very successful IPO or privately owned company down the track.
Oh, that's very cool. Talking about bone regeneration with oyster shells and the sustainable nature of it. So, I mean, is there any plan or any timeline as to start to use this technology? Like, how is it complementary specifically with what you're doing already?
Yeah, so the most important aspect and the reason behind the timing of our investment is that Marine Biomedical, they're about to lodge their FDA application, therefore the timing for the investment for Orthocell was, really well timed, which will deliver value for shareholders. But I think the most important aspect of what we do at Orthocell with our collagen device, most of the time it's used in trauma. And in the cases of trauma, you need bone, nerve, and tendon for these major injuries, whether they're gunshot injuries, car accidents, all those sorts of terrible things that happen. And we have a bone product now, which can be used alongside our collagen product to repair nerves and tendons. So we become a one-stop shop for surgeons in trauma, and I think that's going to deliver incredible value down the track for Orthocell.
Well, in fact, it positions you, I believe, into the $1.6 billion global bone substitution market. So a lot of potential upside here.
Yeah, we think so. And I think the thing to remember here is, all these good inventions are overnight successes that sort of take a decade. Now, Orthocell's been running for around 14 years. Marine Biomedical is newer than that, but now quite advanced in its intent to lodge its application. So before too long, we're already approved in 9 different countries with our collagen device, soon to be Europe and UK. We think then Marine Biomedical will be able to piggyback on that success, where we'll have existing distribution networks already set up. And so, we think it's a great investment for us, and it's a great investment for Marine Biomedical, and most importantly for Australian biotechs. And we're incredibly excited about the possibilities for this down the track.
Yeah, John, there's been a lot of news flow at Orthocell late last year. So just before the Christmas break, you were marking the US milestone with 100 Remplir units sold. And just before this announcement today, which is only worth about $1 million or so, you did put out your quarterly revenue results, and it was 7th straight record revenue coming through in the quarter. You've got a pretty healthy balance sheet, I'd say. So why aren't the shares performing? Why isn't the share price performing alongside that?
Yeah, what a great question. And if I knew the answer, I probably wouldn't be sitting behind this desk. But I think genuinely what happens is that people buy the blue sky. Now we're in reality, and quite fairly, people are looking at Orthocell and saying, right, we want to see the revenue. And we're very confident of that revenue. And when you saw in December, it sounds like a very small amount, but we had $90,000 of sales from the US. That is just the beginning of that uplift. And so you see then over 90% of our surgeons, once they've used the product once, they use it twice. We're slowly rolling out to each individual state, surgeon and hospitals, and we're very confident about the future of the revenue. So I think before too long, it becomes one of those stories again where people look at it and say, why didn't I buy it on the down? Because I think it'll rocket heavily. And I heard you earlier talking about lithium, and I kicked myself the same when I looked at a great, stock like Liontown at 60 cents when the lithium price was low. Everyone's selling, now everyone wants to buy. Well, in the case of biotechs, I think people buy the blue sky, then as it goes into production, there's a sudden sort of pullback to see, will this company really deliver its revenue? And then ultimately when it does, the share price takes back off. And that's what we're very confident about. And then in addition to this, that investment in Marine Biomedical, we think is just that added piece of both revenue from distribution, which we'll pick up. It'll allow us to bundle product and will then become far broader in terms of our delivery across the globe. So, I think with $50 million of cash and a share price at circa $1 market cap, just under 300, it's, one of those stocks that I'm confident when you have me on in the future, we'll look back on this price and say it was undervalued.
All right, and are we on track for an 8th consecutive quarter of growth then?
Well, I should never say yes or no, but what I would say, if you look at our data, we've got a compound growth rate of 10.4%. It does annoy me that people don't then just pull out their calculator, and that's after 7 or 8 quarters. So if you average a compound growth rate of 10.4% per quarter to our current revenue, and you flow that out for another 10 quarters, you can extrapolate a company that's going to have a significant balance sheet, reduced cash burn, and a large revenue. So, people can do that calculation for themselves.